Hi, hello everybody. I'm Sam Simpson. I'm CEO of FounderCatalyst. We are by far the most cost-effective way of getting SEIS and EIS advance assurance and closing your funding round. We produce all the legals you need to do that. So why am I talking through pitch decks? Well, firstly, I'm an exited founder. I grew a company from 0 to 30 million in 4 years and then exited to private equity. I see thousands of pitch decks because I've got investor in my title on LinkedIn, but also with my FounderCatalyst hat on, I see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pitch decks a month. I am an angel investor myself, so I've invested in 32 companies now over the last 6.5 years, with about $750,000 deployed. So let's dive into Palate, which reminds me I haven't had lunch. So I'm going to rattle through this one so that I can eat, because this is already making me hungry. But I like, first thoughts, like the deck, nice picture, it's clear what it is. I think in one of my other pitch reviews, there was a mock-up that didn't do the product justice. I think this one does. It's clean. I know what this is all about, I think, based upon socially responsible media dedicated to food. So let's dive into the detail, but a really pleasing first page. So well done. Okay, personal note from the founder. That is good. Neurosurgeon. Okay, interesting. As a foodie myself and as a very, very amateur cook, I love cooking. So, this is already singing to me as an investor. Okay, yeah, I like this. The one thing that jumps out here is great. You're a neurosurgeon. You either better have a really great team around you that are going to run with this for the journey, or you better be willing to quit your job as a neurosurgeon to do this. So that is one of the first things I'll ask you as an investor if you're pitching this to me. But it's clear, I get your passion. Purpose before profit is an interesting thing to say to investors. There are some investors that will invest, based upon a mission, a shared mission. Most investors are after, profit and an exit and therefore making some money. And it's not to say you can't do both, but you need to be really, really careful with statements like this. Let's see how this plays out in the P&L later. But yeah, it's something to be aware of. Mission and vision, very good. Okay, food waste, carbon footprint, climate impact, lifestyle diseases, which is huge. Certainly with kind of pre-cooked food in this kind of thing, you never know what's in the food. So looking forward to seeing how it fixes that. But yeah, I think this makes it very clear what their mission is, which is good. Connect people around the world, empower them for very straightforward. Problem one, want to eat out and quite often disappointed. Rating. Yeah, and that's really interesting, actually. I think we all go to restaurants and we'll eat, we'll have one meal, which is our go-to favorite, and it's absolutely amazing. But you'll try something else on the menu and it won't be so great. So I think, I think you can have a really good dish in a good restaurant, but some of the other dishes don't quite match it. So yeah, again, this resonates with me. Some good stats on how many times people eat out and whatnot. Rating system, again, really good imagery through the deck, making me hungry, but also bringing to life what the experience is. And it kind of matches the rating on the left here. So, very good. Problem two, food waste. People, waste food, but they don't like it. It's too big or make well-informed choices. Yeah, this kind of matches with the aim of the app that I've seen so far. Okay, it's telling me about the solution to that. Yeah, very good. Good so far. Some stats on the market, which is good. Som, obligatory stuff here that I always skip over. I mean, there's once the app's built, I'm sure there are regional variations and language differences, but it feels like once you've built the app and once you get momentum, there's no reason it's not a global app. So that doesn't feel like a ridiculous statement to make. It feels like there are competitors in this space. Looking forward to seeing the competition slide. A business model, vendor subscription. Okay, yeah. So yeah, there's a free onboarding and free first quarter to prove worth. I mean, this isn't a huge quarterly fee either. So it'll be interesting to see what the attrition rate on those restaurants is built in, but nothing here is jumping out as ridiculous. There's cosmetics. There's a bit of bleeding in between the text here and the diagram, which this is the first part of this deck that actually hasn't looked polished. Also notice the logo at the top there, it's one of my pet hates, jumps around across the different slides. So yeah, it's worth fixing that. Also, and this may be a cultural difference, but I could notice the pound sign is at the end of the price. That looks really unfamiliar to anybody in the UK, a UK angel investor. They'll see this and go, well, that's just weird. It's worth, if you're investing in the UK or America, it's worth kind of matching your deck and making it look familiar to people in the territory you're trying to raise from. So the pound sign in front of the figures on here, and I assume throughout the deck. But yeah, a little bit of polish required here. Ouch. It was looking good until here, and somebody's just plonked in a very bland looking Excel forecast model. Yeah, that's the first moment in the deck. It's worth polishing this. I think you've done a really good job of having a consistent look and feel, which I actually quite enjoy. It's quite clean, and this slide feels like it's been thrown together a bit. See if there's anything amazing that jumps out of here. Okay, they've modelled attrition. I can't understand what the attrition rates here, but I can see they're built into the model, which is good. Yeah, I mean, the growth feels aggressive. It would be interesting to understand, where the attrition fits. But yeah, there's nothing that jumps out other than the sides of it. Ooh, that's not so pleasant. This is both a forecast and an ask slide, I've just realised. So again, pound sign in front of the 500K. There's no mention of SEIS, EIS. I think I mentioned it in my first video, but as an SEIS, EIS investor, if you're raising in the UK, you're absolutely going to need to be offering SEIS, EIS. You don't mention it here, and this deck, from what I've seen so far, isn't compatible with SEIS, EIS. It hasn't got a use of funds. It doesn't say what you're going to do with the £500,000. So absolutely get that in place before you share this deck any further. Okay, traction and team. MVP. Okay, I didn't understand until this point the MVP had been released, so that's good news. Yeah, they're showing 1,400 users in 40 countries. I mean, well done getting across 40 countries. It does feel like this is going to require significant marketing. That is much easier to do on, focus on the UK or a specific market. It's very, very much harder to do across 40 different countries at the same time. Personally, I as an investor, I would feel better if this was, focus on cracking the UK market and winning a significant piece of this, and then, potentially expanding abroad into other English-speaking countries or whatever. But I don't hate the traction. So I mentioned right at the start something about team. Yeah, okay, so it looks like the development's being outsourced to India, which I'm not allergic to, but so my question goes back, I think I mentioned this right at the start, which is great. You're a neurosurgeon. That sounds very highly paid. It sounds like you've done lots and lots of training to get there. Are you going to quit that job to run this, or is somebody else going to run it, or how do you balance the two? Investors really want you to be committed to the cause. So as an investor, that jumps out of me. Nothing else here. I mean, all I would say is you're not bringing to life your team. I don't understand. I can't see your picture. I can't see your LinkedIn link. There's not a lot about you. I get your passion from the first slide. I like that up front, but you've kind of distilled that down to virtually nothing by the time we get here, because there's no details on the founder. The advisors feels like an afterthought. I don't understand any of these. Where have they worked? Where's their LinkedIn profile? I'm not offended by you partnering with people for development and marketing. I think that's a nice way of getting traction really quickly rather than building all of those teams yourself. How are we doing? Slide 14 of 15. Impact. Yeah, I mean, this slide, by the time I get past the ask of the team slide, I'm virtually switched off. If this is important and it doesn't feel particularly important, I would bring it forward in the deck. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like this is not adding anything to me as an investor at this point. And the obligatory close. A few things I've been trying to keep a mental note, which is really painful when you're doing this live. Trying to think of the things I mentioned right at the start and some things that are missing. So I don't understand. There's no competition slide. There probably is competition. I'm almost certain there is. There are certain, there are restaurant rating apps. So it would be great if you bought your differentiation out there. And there probably are apps that do per dish, potentially reviews. Don't try and pretend they don't exist. So I think competition slide is really important. It's also missing for me a roadmap. I've kind of got to the point on here where you read a bit of text and you understand you've got a bit of traction. What I absolutely love, and I think the first review I did, they did it really well, is a kind of a plan slide which shows what have you done to date. So you incorporated on this date, you did this funding round, you built the MVP, you launched. What traction have you got to date? And this is kind of your we are here moment in the middle, and then what are you going to do? So how are you going to, what are the next steps, both commercially, both related to a product, both expanding the team, it's, and closing the fund round, it's all of those things. There was also something, and this is my last point, I promise, something that resonated was around lifestyle diseases here. And I don't really understand how the platform does this. I'm kind of guessing that the founder means, you can look at, this looks healthy. I like the look of that. That's probably not going to give you diabetes. And then I look at this and go, oh, yeah, that's not so great from a health point of view. If that's what the founder means, it would be great to bring to life, because I love the story. I think that's a really important angle in these times. I just don't see how that problem is brought to life in the deck. Anyway, that's the deck, a relatively quick one this time. Overall, I loved it. I think the use of imagery and product look and feel is great. Some obvious things to fix, but this is a solid 7 out of 10 that could easily be improved to 8 or 9 with a little polish. Thanks for watching.